Just 27 years old, Tetorsha T. Williams had everything to live for: a loving son, a supportive family, and dreams of a brighter future. She was a young mother with a heart full of kindness, a smile that could light up a room, and a determination to build a better life for herself and her child. But on May 9, 2024, everything changed. In a single horrifying moment, Tetorsha's life was brutally taken by the man she once trusted, the man who had promised her love and security. This is the tragic story of how a young woman's fight for freedom ended in unimaginable violence, a story that will leave you questioning how love could turn so deadly. Tetorsha's journey began with hope and ambition. She was a teenager with big dreams when she met Kevin Scott, a man nearly twice her age. At first he seemed charming, offering her the stability and affection she craved. But as the years passed, the relationship took a dark turn. What started as a partnership built on love and promises soon became a prison of control, fear, and manipulation. Tetorsha tried to break free, but each attempt was met with resistance, threats, and a growing sense of danger. On that fateful day in May, Tetorsha made the brave decision to leave. She had finally found the strength to walk away, to reclaim her life and protect her son. But as she stood in the kitchen of their home, telling Kevin it was over, something snapped. In a fit of rage, he reached for a gun, and in an instant, Tetorsha's dreams were shattered. Her young son, Christian, witnessed the unthinkable, a moment that would haunt him forever. What led to this horrific act of violence? How did a relationship that began with so much promise end in such a devastating tragedy? And what secrets lie hidden in the shadows of Kevin Scott's past? Stay with us as we uncover the chilling details of this heartbreaking case, a story of love, loss, and the devastating consequences of control. This is the story of Tetorsha T. Williams, a young mother whose life was cut short far too soon. But it's also a story that demands to be heard, a reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind closed doors. What you're about to hear will leave you on the edge of your seat, questioning how something so beautiful could turn so tragic. What started as a love story quickly turned into a nightmare of manipulation, control, and murder. Stay with us as we uncover the chilling details of this heartbreaking case. Before we continue with this heartbreaking story, I need you to pause for a moment. What you're about to hear might be difficult to process, but it's crucial information that could save lives. If you're watching this video, you probably know someone like Tetorsha, someone who's always ready to help others, someone who sees the best in people even when they don't deserve it. Maybe that person is you. This is why I'm asking you to not just watch, but to engage with this story. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever noticed red flags in a friend's relationship? Have you ever felt helpless watching someone you care about struggle in a toxic situation? What did you do about it? Your experiences and insights might help someone else recognize similar patterns in their own life. By sharing, you could be the voice that helps someone find the courage to break free. If you believe in the power of awareness and education, subscribe to our channel. By building this community together, we create a space where these important conversations can happen. Hit that notification bell to join us in our mission to understand and prevent these tragic situations. Your engagement could make the difference in someone's life. It could be the reason someone finds the strength to leave, the courage to speak out, or the hope to keep fighting. Now, let's continue with Tetorsha's story. Remember, her life was taken far too soon, but her legacy can inspire us to take action and create a world where no one has to suffer in silence. Tetorsha T. Williams, affectionately known as Bobo to her family and friends, was a young woman whose presence could light up any room. Born on June 28, 1996, in Chicago, Illinois, Tetorsha was the embodiment of resilience, kindness, and ambition. From her early years, she was a beacon of hope and joy, adored by her parents, Trinetta McClure and Terrell Williams, and cherished by her siblings. She was a princess in every sense of the word, radiant, compassionate, and full of dreams. Tetorsha worshipped at St. Malachy Church, dedicating her life to Christ in her youth, and carried that faith with her throughout her life. Her journey through St. Malachy Catholic Elementary School and Our Lady of Tepeyac High School was marked by remarkable achievements and an infectious enthusiasm for life. She was known for her charm, her wit, and that brilliant smile that could disarm even the sternest of hearts. After graduating, Tetorsha pursued her studies at Malcolm X College, determined to build a future filled with opportunities. She worked tirelessly, from B's Kitchen to KFC, and later in security, where she earned the admiration and respect of her colleagues. But above all, Tetorsha was a devoted mother to her son, Christian. Her love for him was boundless, and she dreamed of creating a life where he could thrive and be happy. But Tetorsha's story is not just one of triumph and love. It is also a story of heartbreak and tragedy. At just 17 years old, she met Kevin Scott, a man nearly twice her age. On the surface, Kevin presented himself as stable, loving, and protective, a man who could offer Tetorsha the security and affection she longed for. But beneath that facade lay a troubled past and a history of abusive relationships. Kevin was a man who knew how to manipulate, to control, and to isolate. What began as a whirlwind romance soon turned into a nightmare that would change Tetorsha's life forever. Kevin Scott was no stranger to turmoil. By the time he met Tetorsha, he had already fathered children with multiple women, each relationship marked by instability and control. He was a man who thrived on power, using his age and experience to dominate those around him. To the outside world, he appeared charming and dependable, but to those who knew him best, he was a ticking time bomb. His relationships were short-lived, often ending in emotional manipulation and heartbreak. And when Tetorsha entered his life, she became his latest victim. At first, Kevin's attention was intoxicating. He showered Tetorsha with affection, promising her a future filled with love and stability. But as the months turned into years, the cracks began to show. Kevin's controlling behavior became impossible to ignore. He isolated Tetorsha from her family and friends, cutting her off from the support system she had always relied on. He monitored her every move, dictated her choices, and eroded her self-worth. What seemed like a fresh start for Tetorsha soon became a prison of control and manipulation. Tetorsha's dreams of a brighter future began to fade under the weight of Kevin's dominance. She was no longer the vibrant, ambitious young woman she once was. Instead, she was trapped in a cycle of fear and uncertainty, struggling to hold on to the person she used to be. But despite the darkness that surrounded her, Tetorsha never lost hope. She clung to the love she had for her son, Christian, and the belief that one day she would break free and reclaim her life. The central conflict in Tetorsha's story is one that resonates with countless others who have experienced the horrors of domestic violence. It is a story of love turned toxic, of promises broken, and of a young woman's fight for freedom. But how did it all go so wrong? How did a relationship that began with so much promise end in such unimaginable tragedy? The answers lie in the details of Tetorsha's life, the choices she made, and the man who ultimately betrayed her trust in the most devastating way possible. As we delve deeper into this story, we will uncover the chilling details of Tetorsha's relationship with Kevin Scott, the manipulation, the control, and the moments that led to her untimely death. This is not just a story about one woman's struggle. It is a story that sheds light on the dark realities of abusive relationships and the importance of recognizing the signs before it's too late. Tetorsha's life was cut short, but her story serves as a powerful reminder of the strength it takes to break free and the courage it takes to seek help. Stay with us as we explore the life of Tetorsha T. Williams, the man who shattered her world, and the tragic events that unfolded on 9/9, 2024. This is a story that will leave you questioning how love could turn so deadly and how one woman's fight for freedom ended in unimaginable violence. Tetorsha T. Williams was just 17 years old when she met Kevin Scott, a man nearly twice her age. At the time, Tetorsha was a bright, ambitious teenager with her whole life ahead of her. She had dreams of attending college, building a career, and creating a stable future for herself and her family. But when Kevin entered her life, everything changed. He was charming, confident, and seemed to offer the kind of stability and affection Tetorsha had always longed for. To a young woman navigating the complexities of adulthood, Kevin's attention was intoxicating. He promised her love, security, and a future filled with possibilities. And for a while, Tetorsha believed him. In the beginning, their relationship seemed like a fairy tale. Kevin was attentive, showering Tetorsha with affection and making her feel like she was the center of his world. He told her she was special, that he would take care of her, and that together they could build a life full of love and happiness. For Tetorsha, who had always been a giver, someone who put others before herself, Kevin's promises felt like a dream come true. But as time went on, the cracks in that dream began to show. Kevin's controlling behavior started subtly. He would question Tetorsha about where she was going, who she was talking to, and why she wasn't spending more time with him. At first it seemed like jealousy, a sign that he cared deeply about her. But soon it became something far more sinister. Kevin began to isolate Tetorsha from her family and friends, cutting her off from the support system she had always relied on. He would criticize her choices, undermine her confidence, and make her feel like she couldn't survive without him. What started as small comments and criticism soon escalated into full-blown manipulation. Tetorsha's family and friends noticed the changes in her. The vibrant, outgoing young woman they knew was slowly disappearing, replaced by someone who seemed anxious, withdrawn, and unsure of herself. Her mother, Trinetta McClure, recalls how Tetorsha would make excuses for Kevin's behavior, often defending him even when it was clear something was wrong. "I knew something wasn't right," Trinetta said in an interview. "But every time I tried to talk to her about it, she would shut down. She didn't want to believe that the man she loved could be capable of hurting her." As the months turned into years, Tetorsha's dreams began to fade. The ambitious young woman who had once been so full of life and hope was now trapped in a cycle of control and manipulation. Kevin's grip on her life tightened with each passing day, and Tetorsha found it harder and harder to break free. She had become a prisoner in her own relationship, her once bright future overshadowed by the darkness of Kevin's influence. But despite the pain and fear, Tetorsha never stopped fighting. She clung to the love she had for her son, Christian, and the hope that one day she would find a way out. She tried to leave multiple times, but each attempt was met with emotional manipulation, threats, and promises that things would change. Kevin would apologize, swear he would do better, and for a while, things would seem to improve. But the cycle always repeated itself, leaving Tetorsha exhausted and overwhelmed. What started as a relationship built on love and promises had turned toxic, and Tetorsha's dreams were slipping further and further out of reach. But even in her darkest moments, she held on to the belief that she could reclaim her life and build a better future for herself and her son. Little did she know, the fight for her freedom would come at a devastating cost. As we move forward in this story, we'll explore the events that led to Tetorsha's tragic end, the moments that defined her relationship with Kevin Scott, and the choices that ultimately sealed her fate. This is a story of love, loss, and the devastating consequences of control. Stay with us as we uncover the chilling details of what happened next. As the years passed, Tetorsha's relationship with Kevin Scott became a living nightmare. What had once seemed like love and security had turned into a cycle of emotional and psychological abuse that left Tetorsha feeling trapped and powerless. Kevin's manipulation was calculated, his control absolute. He knew exactly how to break her down, to make her doubt herself, and to keep her under his thumb. The vibrant, ambitious young woman who had once dreamed of a brighter future was now a shadow of her former self, her spirit crushed under the weight of Kevin's dominance. The abuse took many forms. Kevin would belittle Tetorsha, criticizing her appearance, her choices, and even her abilities as a mother. He would gaslight her, making her question her own reality and convincing her that she was the problem. If she tried to stand up for herself, he would explode in rage, leaving her terrified and submissive. He controlled every aspect of her life, her finances, her social interactions, even her time. Tetorsha was no longer allowed to see her family or friends without his permission, and he monitored her every move, often tracking her phone or showing up unannounced to ensure she was where she said she would be. One incident in particular stands out. Tetorsha had planned to visit her mother, Trinetta, with Christian. Kevin, however, had other plans. He accused her of trying to leave him, of conspiring with her family to take Christian away. In a fit of rage, he destroyed her phone, cutting off her only means of communication with the outside world. Tetorsha was left isolated, with no way to call for help or even let her family know she was okay. It was moments like these that made her feel like there was no way out. But despite the fear and despair, Tetorsha never stopped trying to break free. She made multiple attempts to leave Kevin, each time gathering the courage to walk away, only to be pulled back in by his promises to change. He would apologize, swear he would do better, and for a while things would seem to improve. But the cycle always repeated itself. Kevin's apologies were empty, his promises lies. Each time Tetorsha tried to leave, the abuse would escalate, leaving her more exhausted and hopeless than before. Kevin's manipulation was relentless. He would threaten to take Christian away from her, warning her that no one would believe her if she spoke out about the abuse. He would play on her fears, convincing her that she couldn't survive without him, that no one else would ever love her. And when that didn't work, he would resort to physical intimidation, leaving Tetorsha terrified for her safety and the safety of her son. By 2024, Tetorsha had reached her breaking point. She was no longer the naive teenager who had fallen for Kevin's charm. She was a mother, a fighter, and she was determined to break the cycle for the sake of her son. With newfound strength, she made the decision to leave Kevin once and for all. She knew it wouldn't be easy. Kevin had made it clear that he would never let her go, but she was ready to fight for her freedom, no matter the cost. On May 9, 2024, Tetorsha finally confronted Kevin. She told him their relationship was over, that she was done living in fear and under his control. For a moment there was silence. And then, in a fit of rage, Kevin reached for a gun. What happened next was a moment of unimaginable violence, a moment that would change everything. Tetorsha's fight for freedom had come at the ultimate price. But how did it come to this? What led Kevin to commit such a heinous act? And what happened in the moments after Tetorsha's life was taken? Stay with us as we uncover the chilling details of the final chapter in this heartbreaking story, a story that serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of domestic violence and the courage it takes to break free. May 9, 2024, started like any other day for Tetorsha Williams. She woke up with a sense of determination, a resolve that had been building for months. Today was the day she would finally end her relationship with Kevin Scott. She had made up her mind: no more empty promises, no more fear, no more control. For the sake of her son, Christian, and for herself, she would reclaim her life. But what Tetorsha didn't know was that this decision would cost her everything. That afternoon, Tetorsha confronted Kevin in the kitchen of their home. With Christian playing nearby, she told him it was over. Her voice was steady, her resolve unshakable. She had rehearsed this moment in her mind countless times, preparing for the backlash she knew would come. But nothing could have prepared her for what happened next. Kevin, unable to accept the loss of control, erupted in a fit of rage. In a matter of seconds, he grabbed a gun and fired multiple shots, leaving Tetorsha lifeless on the floor. The sound of gunfire echoed through the house, a horrifying reminder of the violence that had just unfolded. Christian, just a young boy, witnessed the unthinkable. The trauma of seeing his mother murdered in cold blood would leave scars that would last a lifetime. In an instant, his world was shattered, his innocence stolen by the man who was supposed to protect him. The image of his mother's lifeless body would haunt him forever, a painful reminder of the day he lost the person who loved him most. The news of Tetorsha's murder sent shockwaves through her community. Friends, family, and neighbors were left reeling, struggling to comprehend how such a vibrant, loving young woman could be taken so brutally. Tetorsha was more than just a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, a mother, and a friend. Her loss was felt deeply by everyone who knew her, and the senselessness of her death left a void that could never be filled. In the days that followed, the community came together to mourn Tetorsha's passing. Vigils were held in her honor, and tributes poured in from those who had been touched by her kindness and warmth. Her mother, Trinetta McClure, spoke openly about her grief, her voice trembling with emotion as she described the pain of losing her daughter. "She was my everything," Trinetta said in an interview. "She had so much life ahead of her, so many dreams. And now she's gone, all because of one man's selfishness and rage." But even as the community grieved, the search for Kevin Scott began. After the murder, Kevin fled the scene, leaving behind a trail of devastation. For nearly 3 months, he remained on the run, evading law enforcement and leaving Tetorsha's family in a state of agonizing uncertainty. During that time, Trinetta and her family worked tirelessly to keep Tetorsha's story alive, sharing her story with the media and pleading for anyone with information to come forward. A GoFundMe was set up to help cover funeral expenses and support Christian, a heartbreaking reminder of the financial and emotional toll of Tetorsha's death. Finally, on July 18, 2024, Kevin Scott was arrested. The news brought a bittersweet sense of relief to Tetorsha's family. While his arrest couldn't bring her back, it was a step toward justice, a chance to hold him accountable for the pain he had caused. Kevin was charged with first-degree murder, a charge that reflected the cold, calculated nature of his crime. But for Tetorsha's family, the road to healing was far from over. The scars left by her death would remain with them forever, a constant reminder of the life that had been stolen far too soon. As we reflect on Tetorsha's story, we are reminded of the devastating consequences of domestic violence and the courage it takes to break free. Her life was a testament to resilience and love, and her death serves as a stark warning of the dangers that can lurk behind closed doors. But her story doesn't end here. It lives on in the hearts of those who loved her, in the memories of her son, Christian, and in the lessons we can all learn from her tragic fate. Stay with us as we explore the final chapter of this heartbreaking story: the trial, the aftermath, and the legacy Tetorsha leaves behind. This is a story that demands to be heard, a story that reminds us of the importance of speaking out, seeking help, and standing up against abuse. Tetorsha's light may have been extinguished, but her story will continue to shine, inspiring others to break free and reclaim their lives. Tetorsha T. Williams' story is one of love, resilience, and unimaginable loss. Her life was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, but her death serves as a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers of domestic violence and the importance of recognizing the signs early. Tetorsha was more than a victim; she was a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a friend. Her light touched everyone who knew her, and her legacy will live on in the hearts of those who loved her. But her story is also a call to action. It's a reminder that domestic violence can happen to anyone, regardless of age, background, or circumstance. It's a reminder that we must be vigilant, that we must listen to those who cry for help, and that we must never turn a blind eye to the signs of abuse. Tetorsha's life was tragically cut short, but her story can inspire us to take action, to speak out, and to help others break free from the cycle of abuse. If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, please reach out for help. You are not alone, and there are people who care about you and want to support you. In the U.S., you can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE, 7233, or text START to 88788. These resources are available 24/7, and they can provide the guidance and support you need to take the first step toward safety and freedom. We also encourage you to share Tetorsha's story. By spreading awareness, we can help prevent others from experiencing the same tragedy. Like, comment, and share this video to keep her memory alive and to ensure that her story reaches those who need to hear it most. Let's start a conversation. What do you think about this case? How can we, as a society, do better to protect victims of domestic violence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tetorsha's life may have been cut short, but her legacy will endure. She was a fighter, a mother, and a beacon of hope for those who knew her. Let us honor her memory by standing up against abuse, by supporting those in need, and by creating a world where no one has to live in fear. Together we can break the cycle of violence and ensure that stories like Tetorsha's become a thing of the past. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to Tetorsha's story. Let's keep her light shining by spreading awareness, offering support, and taking action. Remember, you are not alone, and there is always hope. Stay safe, take care of yourselves and those you love, and let's work together to create a brighter, safer future for everyone.